Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. All right, so today I'm in Washington, D.C. I'm at the Power Up Conference hosted by Gloria Felt and Women Connect for Good. And let me tell you, second year in a row I've been at this conference, and I do not miss it. It's an amazing conference on Women's Equality Day. And my next guest, he's been on panels last year. Every year I've been here, I've seen him. He's always on stage, and I want the backstory. So first off, Vada, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here, Adam. Thanks for having me.
So talk to me about your connection. How did you originally meet Gloria, the conference? Like where did all this start?
Well, I often like to say I'm an FOG, friend of Gloria, but I'm also someone that knew her late husband, Alex Barbanel, who the Leading Man Award is named after. But I was always impressed at how Alex supported Gloria when she was president of the National Planned Parenthood, helped her to succeed, supported her in her different events, was not an obstacle, but an enabler of her career. And that's a lesson that I learned over 40 years ago, young in my career, as to how you need to help be a greater ally towards women, particularly professional women who are advancing their careers. Share the load on cooking, share the load on household work, do what you can in order to be sure that women can succeed equally in the workplace.
I love it. And what I do like as well, too, and why I was excited to have you on the show is because not as many men as I like to be in this audience. Like I've been here a couple years, you've been here longer than myself. Why should men get involved? Why should they be supporting this organization?
Well, we just had two great authors on stage, which I held a panel, which you alluded to, Brad Johnson and David Smith. And they've done actually scholarly research as to how it benefits society, how it benefits families for men to be more involved in their households, but also how they can be greater allies in the workplace. Again, being enablers and not obstacles in that place, mentoring women, for example, providing great opportunities in that sense. And I think their main point was these are skills that are learned earlier in the household, and then children see that behavior and model that. And that's how we break some of these generational curses with regard to the divide between men and women and them being pitted against one another.
I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about your work too, just to get to know more about yourself. So I know you're a founder. Talk a little bit about your company.
Yeah, certainly. Well, I'm a former Nike executive and a former Levi's executive. So because of that, then after I left corporate, decided that I wanted to work for myself and be an entrepreneur. And Manager Global Holdings is really an umbrella company of several different equity positions in companies in which we have positions in. So we have small positions in 3 NBA franchises, the Charlotte Hornets, the Sacramento Kings, and the Atlanta Hawks. We also have a hotel laundry business that we have an ownership position in, based here in the DC area, in which we service Marriott's, Hilton's, and Hyatt's. We have an experiential marketing company we are partnering in out of LA called Think True. We work with JP Morgan Chase and some of the ads you may have seen with Kevin Hart and other things with Steph Curry for the Chase card. We worked on that. We activate events for Nike as well. So we have a disparate number of different companies that we're involved in. And it's been fun. I'm curious, my mind is curious, and I like working in a lot of different sectors.
What drives you to work with entrepreneurs and to partner with companies? Because that's a unique skill set. What you just now talked about goes across different industries, different types of individuals. Like, what drives that work?
Well, I think curiosity is at the basis of it, but also wanting, I'm an only child. That might have something to do with
Me too. Me too.
All right, then.
We can't help it. We're out there doing what we do. Go ahead.
This is true. So entrepreneur, maybe there's something in that gene or skill set about being an only child.
Or we got to go talk to people, right? We didn't have
that drives us to want to kind of be on our own. I never really joined a fraternity. Not that anything is wrong with fraternity. I guess I'm in a graduate fraternity, the Boulay, but I never did that in college. I was always really kind of focused on, I'm 63, never had a drink in my life. I've always been kind of focused on career and on family and how we can advance society collectively. That's really been my goal. So if I can create opportunities through the businesses that I have and collaborating with other entrepreneurs out there, and what good does it do me, for example, Adam, to hold this knowledge and relationship capital and expertise to myself when I could be sharing that with other people who are also trying to find their journey? You know, it's very difficult for young people these days. Higher interest rates, more difficult to buy a home. And so we really do have a greater obligation to really try to help them along in their career journey.
Yeah. Speaks to the younger people, speaking specifically to the new upcoming entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs. You've been in the game a long time now. What kind of advice would you give them?
First of all, I think it is a certain skill set. You have to be indefatigable in terms of not having a quit gene. Now, there are times obviously you may need to pivot, but you don't quit. if the first venture doesn't work, try to find another venture that is better suited or better funded or better partners in that regard. And I think that's also another key, Adam, is that yes, you can do these things solo, but rarely is success solo.
Yeah.
Having another collaborator, having another partner, or have another tight circle of people that can kind of help you in like-minded goals will help you then succeed and go forward.
Yeah. What about mentors? Like, has that played a role in your life?
Absolutely. One of the great stories about mentorship that I've had was the fact that when I was a young student at Arizona State University and I was getting my very first Pell Grant, the financial aid officer from across the desk is someone who now is the chair of a board in which I serve.
Come on.
He did not know me from Adam.
You can't make that up.
No, really. He did not know me from Adam. I went in to apply for a Pell Grant. He gave me but he saw something in terms of the curiosity and the drive, etc. Hence, then 30 years later,
Get out of here.
he came to an award ceremony where we reward says, look, you embodied everything that I hoped, giving you that very modest, maybe $5,000 Pell Grant to continue school, and you fulfilled that. And now he runs a foundation that's over $1 billion with assets under management. And I'm proud to serve as his finance chair on that board. So I always tell young people, Adam, whether I'm speaking at a graduation or a convocation, never leave the room without knowing the person next to you, because you don't know how that person might change or impact your life some 10 or 15 years from now.
Yeah.
That's how I actually got on my very first corporate board, Vada Manager. Same way. It was a business deal. The business deal didn't go forward with Manny Jackson, who owned the Harlem Globetrotters. He came to Nike to want to do a deal where I was an exec. The deal didn't go forward, but he was so impressed by the presentation that we put together, the people that we brought in the room, that he went back to his board, unbeknownst to me, that he was retiring from, and said, hey, I'm going to be leaving the board, but I met a young man out at Nike.
No way.
Again, we had no relationship, and it didn't put his money in his pocket.
Wow.
So you always have to be on and always have to be ready. That's how opportunities happen.
Amazing. Board representation, that's a big topic, and especially in different minority communities in general. Like when we think about purchasing power, when we think about diversity, when we think about having other segments represented, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, no, this has been a game changer in my life. I've served on both the Ashland Chemical Board, a specialty chemical company that was in the Fortune 500, and now the Valvoline Board, which is about a $5 billion company. I've served on those combined boards for about 15 years. And one thing I intentionally did, Adam, was become chair of the governance and nominating committee, because that's the committee on the board that determines who gets on the board, but also how the board operates and gets along with each other. Because there's a lot of people with MBAs. I don't have an MBA, but there's a lot of people out there with that. But the chemistry of how a board works and how it works together, how it strategically goes forward, is really what makes a board and a company successful, how it creates a culture for its people. So one of the things I often say about boards, it's about chemistry, it's about culture, but it's also about the competence. You have to be able to read a balance sheet and have to be able to do just the fundamentals of finance.
Yeah. Why should, and I want to get to the entrepreneur part here a little bit. What are the benefits of, because there's two different sides of this. You're talking about really large companies, which of course that's one side of the argument, which is in representation and a lot of things like having voices at certain tables. Completely agree. And a side question, but related, other companies, why should companies consider creating boards? A lot of different reasons and arguments for that. Like, so let's talk about the little bit smaller company, right? The middle market, or like even the small businesses. What are some of the benefits that you found of just even creating and having boards?
Having a diversity of viewpoint and being able to tap in that person who has maybe some expertise and knowledge in that industry or sector that you don't have, and be able to open up their aperture and the relationship capital that they bring to it is a great reason to have a board. I don't care if you're talking about an HOA, a homeowners association, or if you're talking about a local fundraising group. Having a board of people, and I think data shows and research shows that people working together as a team versus individually yield better results and outcomes and are more profitable. That was one of the great lessons from Nike for me, Adam, is that it was never about I there. It was always about the team. And it was a place that had a flat matrix that even the person that came in to empty my trash can could socialize an idea for a new shoe design. And that shoe design might end up at retail. So it was that flat. But I also watched that person first start emptying my trash. Then they went from that to working at a Nike retail store, then into management and otherwise. And I love organizations like that, to be that flat where input and great idea capital can come from anywhere.
That's amazing. Well, Veda, I know you got to get back into there. I think they're calling you. I know you're going to, you have another panel coming up or speaking presentation. That being said, last thing I want you to do, look into the camera. How do people follow up? How can they connect? How can they learn more about your work?
Yeah, certainly. I do have a website, www.managerglobalholdings.com. I am also active on all the major platforms, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. So I'm not hard to find out there, and always happy to share whatever knowledge capital and relationship capital that I have in order to help me make people succeed.
Fantastic. And for everybody watching at home, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so you can just click on the links, head right on over and check out Veda. And speaking of the audience, if this is the first time with Mission Matters and you haven't listened to an episode before, make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way in your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Veda, man, glad I could finally get you on.
Thank you. So happy to be here. Appreciate the invitation.